When it comes to the empowerment of women, there is no woman that springs to mind more powerfully than Oprah Winfrey. Now, Oprah and I have had incredibly different pasts. We have very different backgrounds, very different upbringings, very different opportunities or lack of opportunities. And yet, despite that, I find that the kinds of advice or lessons that I'm sharing with our community here at One of Many are very similar to what I hear from Oprah. And then if you start looking at many women leaders around the world, you hear very similar things, which tells me that this advice that all of us are hearing and sharing and looking to employ and work through our own lives, this is advice that goes beyond individuals. It's ideas whose time have come and that need and require sharing. And so today I wanted to share 5 pieces of advice, which I've heard Oprah share over the years, that have made an impact for me and that really resonate deeply with what I believe about the empowerment of women. So they are, number 1, speak up. This is something that I've heard Oprah talk about many, many times, and it's something that I believe all of us women have to get better at. If we know something, we need to say something. If we know that things could be different and we see how they could be different, we do need to speak up. And many of us don't for all sorts of reasons: fear, being overlooked, who am I to say this, imposter syndrome, and actually the very real risk in some cases that we could be criticized, ripped down, our reputations shredded. It is scary out there. Yet I believe that if we truly want to change the world for the better, the way that we want it to be, we absolutely need to start with speaking up, speaking out about what we see, and speaking our truth. The second point that Oprah talks about a lot is finding your passion. And I feel that the easiest way to understand this is from an energy perspective. When we're feeling tired and de-energized, it's easy to think that it's because of all of the stuff that's going on in our lives. It might be, we're struggling with lots of small things. Oh, we're really not loving where we're living. Maybe you need to move house, and the kids are having a tough time at school, but there's nothing really, you've done everything you can, there's nothing else can be done about it. You're feeling a few pounds overweight, you do something about that. Not really happy in your relationship, it's not so bad, but and just everything's kind of so. When I hear Oprah speak about passion, she talks about the fact that if you find something big enough, a big problem, a big challenge, a big opportunity, some big impact you want to have in the world, that gives you a huge amount of energy that will feed you for all of the smaller things. Now, I'm not going to say it's not important that you be in optimum health, or it's not important that your kids be happy at school. These are important things. But if that's the sum total of everything that you're looking at and you're feeling de-energized and tired, it could be it's because you haven't looked inside and gone, what would set me on fire? What would really call me forward? What is my passion? I think your passion is a great source of fuel for handling the day-to-day as well as changing the world. The third thing Oprah talks about is prioritizing your goals. We all have a billion goals, things that we would like to achieve in this lifetime. There are many, many things that we would like to achieve. The point is, we can have it all, just not all at the same time. So we need to be very specific about right now in your life, what is the one thing that is the most important for you. There's a great book actually called The One Thing. And the question that the authors ask us to reflect on is, what is the one thing that would make everything else easier or unnecessary? That becomes the one goal, the one intention that you should be putting your energy behind. It's not saying you can't focus on, you can't kind of be working on more than one thing at the same time. Of course you can. In any given day, you could be a great mother and have an intention that you want to be working on in family. You could also have an intention out in your workspace. You could also be working on intentions for your health. But there's one of them which is going to be the most important. And in those moments of choice, should I be spending more time with my kids, or should I be spending more time on that work project? It's going to come down one way or the other if you have to choose. So you need to know for you and your heart which is the more important, so that you can choose where you're putting your attention appropriately. Prioritizing your goals, your ambitions is crucial. The fourth thing I've heard Oprah talk about is having a self-care day, taking time to look after you. Here at One of Many, we have 15 soft power principles that we share with our coaches and with our clients. They're assumptions by which we live our life. And when we live our life by that, we can be more empowered, happy, joyous, free, energized. And the number one is first replenish your energy. So I concur with Oprah on this. It might not even look like a whole self-care day. And sometimes even the word self-care make us think that we need to go have manicures and stuff. It's not about that. It's about replenishing your energy. What is one thing you could do today or right now that would replenish your energy, have you feel more energized for life in general? Do that thing. And the number 5 thing that I've heard Oprah talk a lot about is raising other women up. I think we are existing at the moment in a cultural paradigm which has rewarded for too long individualism, competition, competing against. If we really want to shift things at a global level around big issues like climate change, poverty, hunger, if we want to change things inside of organizations and inside of parliaments and governments, we have to change the number of women at the table of leadership. And the only way to do that is that we women especially start to work to raise other women up. Do you know, I am a great believer in positive discrimination. I know a lot of women out there like, no, I want to get there on my own merits. But the cultural paradigm is not set up. If you want to compete equally in the cultural paradigm, you have to be 3 times as good, I think any woman in leadership needs to bring other women up with her. Even if we're not in leadership, we need to learn what it is to be a stand for a woman just because she's a woman. Doesn't mean we need to agree with every behavior that she exhibits. Doesn't mean that we need to introduce her to our networks if that's not appropriate. But how can we look to raise women up around us so that we can change the numbers who are at these leadership tables? It starts with a groundswell, and all of us can be part of that. So there you have it. 5 little lessons, which I've heard Oprah speak about over the years. 5 things which are very, very dear to my heart. And I hope there might be some food for thought for you in what I've shared today. So what are the biggies for you? We've shared 5. Which of those is most resonant with anything that's going on in your life? Perhaps have a think about any challenges or opportunities that you've got, and which of those 5 little snippets might give you some headway into making more of an impact with what's on your plate. If this has been helpful, please feel free to share it with a woman or women in your life and your community. It's been great to chat with you, and I look forward to seeing you soon.